My name's Ian Cook. I work for Cambridge University Press in the UK. And today I'm going to be having a conversation with Raquel Ribeiro. To begin with, I think probably best for Raquel to introduce herself. So Raquel, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you live and what you do?
Thank you, Ian. Hello, everybody. I'm Raquel Ribeiro from São Paulo, Brazil. Let me just say a little bit about what I do. I'm an English teacher and blogger based here in São Paulo, but I was born in Rio de Janeiro. I have been teaching English for a very long time to all age ranges. And in the past years, I have had a growing interest in integrating technology to teaching. And then I became a Google Innovator, and also I'm a contributing author for the new series of Cambridge Evolve.
You mentioned there you're a Google Innovator, and I know you're also an EdTech blogger. Is educational technology something you've always had an interest in?
Well, not really. Back a few years ago when I changed schools, I was actually scared of technology. And back then, 2006, when you say technology, it was a PowerPoint and having a few files on a flash drive. But I realized I had to learn at least the basics to kind of survive. Some years later, when I bought my first tablet, then I realized I could download apps for a number of purposes, including teaching. And I started talking to my students and saying, look, there's this app. Do you think we can use that in class or maybe for homework? And usually students were very receptive to the idea. So they kept asking me, okay, what's the app and where can I download it? And there is also this thing about iOS and Android. And then I decided to start blogging so that I would share the experience with both students and colleagues and say what it is that I use the app for and the benefits, and of course, where you can find and download it. And through doing that for some years, that's when I was selected to be a Google Innovator. And I got in touch with other teachers from different subjects, but with this objective in mind, that is to use technology to enhance the learning process. So over the past years, there was a huge shift from a person who was really scared in terms of using technology to a teacher who was eager to learn, research, and exchange ideas.
Great. So can you explain why you think there is value in integrating technology into language learning and teaching?
Yeah, that's a very important question to answer. Well, when we are teaching, depending on the age range and the size of our groups, the specific group needs, technology can certainly enhance, and this is something that must come to our mind at first. So, for instance, we can use technology to include a visually impaired student in the process of exchanging ideas with the colleagues. That's exactly how I started when I used QR codes for that purpose. So he couldn't read what was on the board, so he would scan the QR code from my phone, listen to those questions and interact with his colleagues. So that was one thing. We can use technology to help students with pronunciation, the meaning of words, testing their abilities, to add the element of gamification to classes. So everything's connected to a purpose, but it goes beyond that. It also helps us teachers with our management, with our routine, files, and being able to access everything we have from far away, organize our routine as well, and even help us with the workload of teaching.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point, the value of technology to, when used well, to really save people's time. So that's interesting to hear. And So nowadays, do you ever teach classes without using technology?
Well, it's in my nature that I refer to using, for instance, an app for communication with the students or to gamify an activity, research. So it's really second nature to me. But of course, there are moments in my class that it's the interaction and clarifying doubts and the actual book teaching and teaching the students, because of course this is part of our class. Also, when I teach kids, I'm very careful, because if you consider children development, it is really important that they experience things rather than just follow and click here and there. So I can say that there is always something in terms of technology in my classes, and that's usually what I share with my teacher colleagues and students in the stories of my blog, so that it can give them insights and ideas. But mostly that's the regular teaching where the understanding of the language and cultural exchange happens.
From your perspective, what do you think have been the biggest changes in language learning and teaching in the last couple of years?
Well, the last couple of years, the way I see it is that we have changed from just using technology to entertain, like with beautiful PowerPoints and lessons that would take a million years to be ready, and having this divide from teachers who are really talented and teachers who had to either copy or use something simple, to an era where the student is in the center of building up those processes while learning. So it's not about having beautiful illustrations and flip charts. You can start with a white canvas with a Google Docs, nothing written, and the students build it up. And that's the beauty of using technology nowadays. It has evolved in the sense of giving students a voice. And when I say giving students a voice, I'm also saying through writing, elementary learners, because it all depends on the context of your lesson. So this can happen through comments, or it can happen in a document that students co-create with the teacher, and they see how far along they have moved throughout the class. And also something that I consider amazing is the possibility to take part even when you're not in the same place. It happens in busy traffic, students are still on transportation in another city, and they can join in and contribute somehow. I'm not saying online classes exactly, although of course there is this possibility, but here I'm referring to regular groups where students go to school, but if you use, for instance, a virtual learning environment, you can start a class, everybody gets this notification. That's how students can join even from being far away. And again, the possibility of inclusion of visually impaired students or other possibilities in terms of giving students a voice and giving students the possibility to join and to build together along with us teachers.
Great. That sounds hugely positive, and it's really clear reasons there for using technology in any kind of learning situation. I just wondered if I could ask you one last question, and it's whether you have any words of advice for people out there who may be fantastic teachers but a little bit nervous about introducing technology to their classroom. Is there anything you would say to someone like that?
Yes. The first thing is that I can definitely relate to walking through an unknown road in this sense. So you have all this knowledge as a teacher, being a teacher for many years, and there comes this new challenge. And we are exactly in a moment nowadays that it's not, okay, I'm going to try whatever app or site anymore. there is this deeper understanding of the purpose for the learners and also for us teachers. The first piece of advice would be ask a more experienced peer in this sense. Teacher's room is amazing because we can grab some coffee and exchange ideas, and maybe 1-2 minutes of a conversation can give you this insight and, oh, that's all I need. Another thing I would recommend in terms of professional development, there are webinars. So follow, even if you are not in the country, but you can watch from far away and you can watch at a later time, because then it gives you ideas. So read from people who have been sharing things that they actually do in classes, in real classes, that makes a difference. So it's not theory, it's what really happens when you have 20 students in a group, for example. A last thing, share with your students your idea and the purpose, and you're going to be surprised because mostly they are receptive and they help us, in this sense of teaching it all and this, and when it happens and they learn and there is this collaboration for a purpose, it is really beautiful. Then by the end of a semester, of a level, you're going to have a collection not of files that the teacher shared, but that files that students and teachers, but especially the students, build throughout the course, and that's a lot more precious.
All really good advice. Thank you very much. I know you're very busy, so very much appreciate you giving a few minutes today to talk to us. Thank you. And if you're interested in what Raquel said today, please do check out her Instagram channel. Her blog post links are posted just above. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity. Bye then. Bye-bye.